It is my great honor to present the Screen Actors Guild the Life Achievement Award to an artist, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Robert De Niro.
Hollywood's been straight up wild lately. It feels like every week someone huge is getting fired or some massive project is getting axed. It's like the Hollywood bubble is finally popping and everyone's scrambling. Studio execs, CEOs, board members making these huge dramatic calls left and right. It's because studios are getting slammed with backlash. Their movies just aren't hitting it big at the box office anymore. People are over it, sick of seeing the same ideas shoved into every single film. But today, we're not talking about Hollywood as a whole. Nope, we're zooming in on one guy, Robert De Niro. So here's the deal. Robert De Niro, one of Hollywood's most iconic actors, has found himself in some serious hot water. But lately, his reputation has been taking some serious hits. He's always been the kind of guy who says what's on his mind, no matter how controversial or unfiltered it might be. And while that boldness has been part of his charm for years, it seems like it's finally caught up to him. Now, De Niro is at the center of a major conflict with Warner Brothers, one of the biggest movie studios in the world. In case you didn't know, Warner Brothers is the studio behind those intense Joker films. Remember Joker and Joker 2? De Niro was actually supposed to appear in some flashback scenes for Joker 2, but that didn't end up happening. Lately, the studio's been under fire from critics and audiences alike, and with the film industry facing constant scrutiny, it looks like Warner Brothers decided they couldn't handle the added drama. The result, De Niro just got fired, and not from one project, two separate Warner Brothers productions. One of them was a big upcoming mob movie, where he was set to reprise his role as a powerful mob boss. It's a genre he's practically synonymous with, thanks to classics like Goodfellas and Casino. But now, the studio has completely removed him from the project. Things got so tense, there's even talk of Warner Brothers canceling the movie altogether. As you'd expect, De Niro isn't happy about any of this. He's reportedly furious, calling Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav foolish and accusing the studio of making decisions based on pressure from certain groups. He's even threatening legal action to fight his removal. But that's not all. De Niro was also lined up for some key flashback scenes in Joker 3. Those plans? Scrapped. And there was another project, a big action thriller slated for release in a couple of years. De Niro was attached to that one too, but now he's been removed from that as well. The movie is still moving forward, just without him. It's a dramatic turn of events for someone who's been a cornerstone of Hollywood for decades. De Niro's no stranger to controversy, but this time, it seems like the industry is finally pushing back in a way that even he didn't see coming. Alright, here's the scoop. Robert De Niro isn't just angry, he's livid. He's threatening to sue Warner Brothers, saying they fired him unfairly and handled it unprofessionally. In his mind, he's being punished for having an opinion on real-world issues. But Warner Brothers, they see things differently. They're looking at the bigger picture, and keeping De Niro around feels like a huge risk to their brand and future projects. Think about it. When one of your lead actors keeps making headlines for the wrong reasons, it's a nightmare for marketing campaigns and press tours. That's not the kind of spotlight any studio wants when they're trying to promote a blockbuster. De Niro was supposed to earn a massive $20 million for this mob boss movie, and he was ready to channel that classic energy from his legendary roles in Goodfellas and Casino. But now, with De Niro out of the picture, the whole project is in limbo. And that's not all. Word is, behind the scenes, De Niro was causing more friction. He reportedly wanted more screen time in the mob movie, and felt his role should have been bigger. That sparked some major creative disagreements with the studio, and honestly, it seems like that was the beginning of the end. Here's the thing about De Niro. He's always had this larger-than-life personality. It's what made him an icon in his prime. But now, that same personality seems to be getting in the way. It's starting to feel like he's joining the ranks of other Hollywood stars who've lost touch with reality. You know the type. People like George Clooney, Whoopi Goldberg, or Jimmy Kimmel. They're living in their own little bubble, and sometimes it feels like they've forgotten what regular people out here in the real world actually care about. Alright, let's break this down. Lately, Robert De Niro's attitude has been making things worse for him, and honestly, it's not all that surprising when you look at the bigger picture. A few weeks back, there were already rumors of tension between De Niro and Warner Brothers over some untitled project. Turns out that project was the Mob Boss movie. Now, I don't know about you, but his recent work and like The Irishman on Netflix just didn't hit the same. It felt slow, like it was missing the magic of his classics, like Goodfellas or Casino. It's almost like De Niro's trying to relive his glory days by going back to those mobster roles, but it's just not clicking anymore. It feels like he's chasing something that's long gone. And here's the thing, Hollywood doesn't have time for actors who create drama. Studios are starting to distance themselves from people like De Niro, especially when they're making extreme comments left and right. Lately, he's been saying some pretty wild stuff in interviews, on podcasts, even live on TV. It's no wonder Warner Brothers decided they'd had enough. And it's not just them. Word on the street is that Universal is also thinking about dropping him from an upcoming project. We don't know what it is yet, but it sounds like something family friendly. And let's be real, De Niro's recent track record doesn't exactly scream safe choice. It's not hard to see why studios are rethinking things. His recent movies? Total flops. People just aren't as interested in his work anymore. Hollywood is changing, and studios are done taking risks on actors who bring controversy instead of value. At this point, it's starting to feel like De Niro is slipping into has-been territory. His movies aren't generating buzz, the box office numbers are disappointing, and let's face it, no one's talking about them. They're definitely not packing theaters. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav, I can't argue with their decision. Sometimes you've just gotta cut ties when someone becomes more of a liability than an asset. It's like what we've seen with Disney and the whole Rachel Zegler Snow White drama. Studios are taking a harder stance because they can't afford for their movies to be overshadowed by bad press. And compared to what De Niro's been saying, that Snow White mess was nothing. Warner Brothers did what they had to do to protect their brand and reputation. Another thing people don't always think about is how this kind of drama affects the rest of the cast and crew. These are people working hard to make a movie great, and when someone like De Niro dominates the headlines for all the wrong reasons, it overshadows their efforts. It's not fair to them, and studios are starting to realize they need to keep things drama-free if they want their projects to succeed. Right now, it's not looking good for De Niro. He might have a tough time finding new projects if more studios follow Warner Brothers' lead. Hollywood thrives on reputation, and once yours starts to slip, it's incredibly hard to bounce back. Here's the wild part. De Niro used to be the guy everyone wanted in their movie. He was a Hollywood powerhouse. But now, he's starting to feel more like a liability than a selling point. And let's not forget about the fans. They're the ones buying tickets, streaming movies, and keeping this whole industry afloat. If they lose interest in an actor, that's a huge problem. And honestly, it feels like that's exactly what's happening with De Niro. His recent movies just aren't connecting with audiences. They're not exciting anyone, and they're definitely not drawing crowds. For an actor who's been in the game as long as De Niro, this is a big red flag. He should be doing roles that challenge him, that remind people why they loved him in the first place. But instead, it feels like he's stuck trying to recreate the past. And the more he clings to that old image, the more it slips away. So the big question is, has Robert De Niro lost his touch, or is Hollywood just moving on too quickly from one of its legends? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. See you next time.